We see it more and more.
Drop back!
Law enforcement face to face with mentally unstable people. A dangerous standoff that sometimes turns deadly. Channel 9 investigates the training of law enforcement.
So every year our officers go through additional training on CIT.
And why some say it's just not enough. Tonight, the fine line between help or harm.
And we saw that at the top of the newscast as well with the officer-involved shooting. Law enforcement leaders telling us that their people train for encounters with unstable people, but mental health professionals think that training really just isn't enough.
Yeah, in part 2 of this series, our Giovanni Diaz introduces us to a parent who's been on both sides of this difficult equation.
So we felt like we had gotten him into a good place, and unfortunately, things did not work out, and it's been a rough road for mom and dad.
UCF Police Chief Carl Metzger has a unique perspective. He lost his son, Daniel, in 2023 following a mental health crisis. But even before that, the 28-year-old had many runs with law enforcement.
Daniel ultimately was Baker Acted 8 times. And I saw those law enforcement officers who were CIT, Crisis Intervention Team, trained, and those who weren't. And the difference between the response was stark.
There is a high volume of mental health crisis-related calls all across our counties. In Sumter County, for example, the Sheriff's Office tracked more than 1,000 calls between 2023 and 2024. In Seminole County, the Sheriff's Office responded to more than 3,000 calls just last year. And in Orange County, that number jumped to more than 5,000 in the same time period. So far this year, Orange County has already responded to nearly 1,700 mental health crisis calls, and 2 of them ended with a person killed.
Drop! Drop! Drop back, man! Drop back!
And one of those calls came from Antonio Scipio.
I'm about to kill myself.
His mother did not want to show her face, but she told us the 33-year-old was battling mental health issues for years.
It's still very hard for me to step in this house. Every time I step, I see him laying there in a pile of blood that was uncalled for.
But right after the shooting, the Orange County Sheriff told us that this kind of outcome is unusual.
The man continued to walk towards the deputies with the knife, again refusing several commands.
The Orange County Sheriff's Office says their behavioral response units, which includes a clinician and a deputy, do not directly respond to calls when a person is armed. And that's why only deputies showed up at Antonio Scipio's home. Chief Metzger says law enforcement officers walk a very thin line between protecting the person who's having a mental health crisis and protecting themselves. And that's why crisis intervention training is so important.
We need to keep our officers sharp and their skills sharp and ready to go out there and save lives.
And mental health experts agree with that.
What would be the solution for us to have the most positive outcome?
I think if in an ideal world, I would say bridging the communication gap between psychiatrists and law enforcement.
Advocates with the National Alliance on Mental Illness say the state of Florida should require the training for all law enforcement officers.
Why is it not a requirement yet?
I think all departments across the country are struggling to put officers on the street.
You can hear, if you get close, you can hear them.
I got you.
NAMI partners with law enforcement agencies to help train officers on how to best respond to calls involving a person experiencing a mental health crisis. And Chief Metzger, who now is a board member at the organization, is using his own story to help others.
Do you think the work you do right now is the legacy of your son?
I do. We miss him. We love him. But we're going to continue to help others, and that helps us.
And the National Alliance on Mental Illness told us they've trained more than 1,500 law enforcement officers across Osceola, Orange, Brevard, and Seminole County just in the past 2 years. And now they're pushing and hoping that their training will become a requirement for every single law enforcement agency across the state of Florida. Reporting in Orlando, I'm Giovanni Diaz, WFTV Tonight.